Hello, Internet, and welcome to Comic Book Talks for Saga issue 37. It's been a while. I'm back with Comic Book Talks, and I'm still currently only reading Saga. That could change. I got some ideas, but yeah, let's get to it. It's issue 37. After Marco and Alana went in to rescue Hazel from the detention center facility planet location area, and things are it's like the pacing in this one is like so good because it's like, things are going fine, they're on the ship, they're on the way back, everything's fine, and then you have just like, just boom, they hit a wall, there's some foreshadowing of some bad things to come, and then we're left with what's going to happen. But back to the comic. So we've got Hazel sleeping, and there's some narration, families are goddamn wildfires. And then you have Alana and Marco looking over her, and they're like, we should probably tell her that she's going to be having a sibling soon. I guess they're talking about well, actually, it's kind of cool because like they say that they talk about it, but then they also talk about how maybe this whole thing about the hybrids having what was it? They say something about like how hybrids have high birth defects. It's just like a propaganda tool to use against our people. Another like way to like prevent them from having peace with the moon people and the planet people, or the horns and the wings, I should say, because I keep forgetting like the landfall and the wreath, like which is which. So I just say like the horns and the wings, or because I can't even like remember what the opposite of moony is. It's been a while since I read this, but yeah. So you've got the horn people with the magic, and then the wing people with the science. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, but yeah, they got that scene where they're talking about it, and they're like, yeah, we should probably tell Hazel about this because we don't want her to freak out, or just to like not figure out if we don't tell her about it. And then all of a sudden the ship glows orange, which I kind of forgot all about the ship and its inner workings. So I guess that means it's either low on fuel or it's bring a fuel leak, because that's what happens. But yeah, it starts going orange, and then we got some more narration about how families are like wildfires, and they start out small, but brother, watch them grow. So I'm wondering if that's like, is it a boy? And then my family and our newest house guests were in the middle of a long journey to our next potential safe harbor. And then whoever said getting there is half the fun is a complete asshole. so yeah, it still makes me laugh when I'm reading it. And then we go from that scene to Prince Robot laying in bed, trying. It's so weird. It's like one of those. Yeah, it's another weird Saga things where it's like you have a panel of his penis that's erect. And then he grabs it. He's like, let's clear this out. Let's clear this cannon out before it backfires. And then you have like this super weird sequence of panels of his face, because it's the android, and like in their monitors they show what they're thinking. And so the first one you see his wife, the princess, and then or the deceased princess. She's not deceased in that image though. That'd be even weirder. And then the next image you see the stalk with the hole through her chest. And then I thought that was kind of neat, because it kind of like suggests that he's a masochist, since he's like looking at an image of someone that's having like bodily harm done to them. Because it's not like a normal picture of the stalk; it's the stalk with like the hole through her chest with like blood coming out of it, which is like super freaky. But then like his mind goes like blank, so maybe like he didn't mean to think about that, and he's like, no. And then you see the panel with the with the gay sex image from that one issue, like way back when, that was like super controversial or whatever. And then and then like the other cool thing is like these speech bubbles. So he goes from like that to when he goes blank, and he's like, sorry, dearest, and like the two dudes, and he says like, not today. So it's kind of like implying like, is he bisexual? Maybe. That was kind of weird, or that was interesting. And then I think it's like staticky, and it's like you can't really see anything. It's like almost, and then then it turns into a butt. He's like, yes, and then like it goes up, or it like the image goes like farther up, so you see like the back and some hair down it. And he's like, yes. and then you see the back of the head, and it's got hair, and it's like long hair though, and it's kind of like purpley, but it's still black, and and then his speech bubble is like, "Look me in the eye, you dirty ... and like it's fuzzy, and you can't see who it is, and then like you see the final image, and it's Alana turning around. And he's just like, "Gah!" He stops and he sits up and he's like, "What's wrong with me?" That was just like, man, like not having read Saga in such a long time to like go from, you know, zero to 1,000, and then yep, still does it, still brings it. And yeah, that was a great sequence of just like, that was hilarious, and just yep, poor Prince Robot. Don't know what he's going through. He's just like, "What's wrong with me?" And you have some narration of, there'd been a time when Sir Robot had wanted nothing more than to kill both of my parents with his bare hands. Thankfully, my folks had a way of growing on people, some of them anyway. And then you have this scene where Isabel and Petrichor, the transgender lady from the detention facility that they were able to break out, is talking to Isabel. And then Isabel's trying to convince them that they're good people, because she doesn't like Alana or the robot. She's like F the coalition forces, which is their side. And she's like, "I just hope they fall out of an airlock, blah, blah, blah." And then Alana's like, or not Alana, but Isabel's like, no, they're cool. And then like Hazel's totally cool too. And then, you know, she has secrets of her own, 'cause she's a hybrid, so she can totally keep your secret, because I'm sure she's still the only one that knows that you're transgender or whatever. And then, let's see, what else? Oh, it's actually kind of cool, because she's like, you know, our first priority should be to like protect Hazel. And then, yeah, I bet she misses all her friends and everything from her grandma that's stuck back in the detention center. And then, let's see. Yeah, there's like this cool line where like Isabel's all like, "Oh, you think she's she's asking her about like the privacy thing, about like, oh, well, you're a ghost, you can take any form and you probably know all these secrets, blah blah blah." And then she's like, "Oh, well, Hazel is you know, she's I've been watching her for like since she was a baby. Everything's cool. She's good with keeping secrets because she has her own secret." And then Petrichor's all like, "Oh, and do you think she's told the others of my identity?" And Isabel's like, "What, that you happen to be trans? Who even cares?" Well, she doesn't say Petrichor, she calls her Petri for short, so that's kind of neat. I thought that was a great line. And then but then she goes like, "You have no idea," so it's like, oh, maybe she got some people after her or something. But yeah, then they're talking, and then she's like, "Okay, if you're a shapeshifter, why do you always have the half that's below you blown off? Like, why do you keep that form?" And then she says, "Because it was the last time I was alive, and because I had this sweet Pyrosis shirt before they broke up." And then Petrichor's like, "Oh, you like Pyrosis too?" But then the ship turns orange, and then Hazel's like, "Oh man, guys, something's happening. You should come to the meetings because stuff's going down." And then everybody's assembled in the ship, and they're looking at the damage of like, okay, what's going on? Because something's not right. And then they're like, "Oh, we're leaking fuel, and we're slowing down, and we're still pretty far away from where we left the Squire." So that makes Robot angry, because he's like, "Dude, my son's like way far away. We gotta get back there." So they're kind of, well, they're not in panic mode yet, but then they're like thinking of their options. And then Marco's like, "Well, if I throw my crash helmet in here that's spent because it's out of magic, it gets us a bit farther to the next system, but there's only like 2 planets there or something." And then Petrichor is like, "Well, there are 2 planets to land on, but if we time things right, we may be able to hitchhike a rocket. Hitchhike a ride on a comet." And then Alana's like, No, I am not going to take my child to that meat grinder." And then Prince Robot says, "Is she seriously suggesting we stop to refuel on ? And then Marco finishes this and he goes, "On Fang," or Fang, or I don't know how to pronounce it, Phang. And then there's a bunch of narration about what is going down on Fang, or Fang. I'll call it Fang, F it. And then like what the situation is and like how it came to be. But basically, it's a coalition. Well, it's not a coalition planet, but it's a planet with all different types of species and races and backgrounds and stuff of people and characters and creatures, and they're all living there. Kind of, not exactly in the most Unity style. They're a bit like, I don't like these people, but I'm stuck here living here. But then the moon and the the wings and the horn side of the war came to the war. Basically, the conflict came to the planet because there's resources there, and they're trying to get the resources because there's a bunch of oil on the planet, and well, not oil specifically, fuel. They say fuel. They don't say like what specific resource for the fuel, whatever. So you have the horn people and the wing people fighting for the resources, and it's basically just a giant battleground because neither side wants the other side to get all the fuel that's in the planet. And basically, because the local population has basically inherited a giant war zone, everybody's trying to leave, and it basically just, and it says that the like the number one export for Fong is refugees, and that basically, and then like after it shows this whole sequence, which is pretty much just like a metaphor for like all the conflict in the Middle East. You see Sophie back with Gwendolyn and Lion Cat, and they're back on where are they? I think they were on actually that planet Wreath, right? Yeah, they're on the moon, back on the homeland of the Horn people. So they're in Zadie right now after the. What were they doing? I think they were trying to Oh yeah, that's right. They resisted the will, and he got angry, and he's like, "Go away, you both can F off." After what happened to his sister, and then so yeah, that's where they're at. And then you have this discussion between Sophie and Gwendolyn, where Sophie's like, "Okay, well, I've been saving up money from all our hard work and contracts, and I want to be taken under by another freelancer so I can learn the ways of a freelancer, and I can finish the work that the will never did, and kill your evil ex-boyfriend." I thought that was crazy. Like the whole time Sophie and Gwendolyn have been together, the only thing that she's been thinking about is killing Marco and Alana to finish the job. It's like, whoa, that was insane. I was like, I didn't even see that coming. I was like, dude, that's intense, because she's like still a kid. She's like, Gwendolyn says like you're only 10 or something. It's like you're drunk. Like yeah, she's like, are you drunk? Why would I let my best page leave me to do something so stupid? It's like, I was like, man, that's hardcore. Man, that's crazy. But oh, and then like it's great too because like she's talking to, like, since Lion Cat's there, and then Gwendolyn and Sophie are talking, and then you know, Sophie goes, you know, the whole reason you haven't gotten a better job in Wreath High Command yet is because of your past with that traitor, because you still haven't finished the contract to kill him and the girlfriend. Because, you know, you met the will and stuff went down, because you're like, oh no, you're here too, or whatever. Well, that's not what happened actually, but whatever. Because okay, to go back to what happened was basically Sophie was like hallucinating from the drugs on the planet that the fruit produced. Okay, it wasn't drugs. It was like the fruit that the planet that they were on had hallucinogens in them. She ate them, she hallucinated, and she like stabbed the will in the neck. And so Gwendolyn was there, but she was able to like spit out the poison and, like, you know, save the will. Well, that's when he went into a coma, and then that's when like Gwendolyn had his cape on, and she was like doing the will thing and hunting down Marco and Alana. That was so great, because it was basically like it was like leading up into the lighthouse finale. That was great, and stuff went down. But yeah, then they went in and didn't kill Marco and Alana, and then the will got in a coma, and they had to basically look up a cure for him and all that stuff. So they got super sidetracked, and then now they're back here, and then Sophie's like, well, I can go back and kill him. It's like, you know, I can just learn from another freelancer. And then Gwendolyn's like, whoa, A, you're super helpful, and I need you, and B, not happening. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, when like Sophie says all that stuff about, if you just would, have killed him in the first place, we wouldn't have this trouble. And then Gwendolyn's like, "That's not that simple." Lion Cat's about to say lying, and then Gwendolyn has this stick thingy, or this cane or stick or whatever staff, and she puts it in his mouth before he can finish. And she's like, "Okay, walk away, Cat." And at this point, I thought she was just like gonna start like lying to her, but he basically just says, "Since you're from Fang, or since you're from Fong, if you have any family members that aren't dead yet, or that haven't been what's that word called? Human trafficked off the planet, you should try to get a message to them now so that they can get off the planet." And then she's like, "Why would I do that? Like, how could it get any worse on Fong?" and then we see, and then like after that we see the tree ship go into the comet, and they land, and then let's see, Hazel's like, "Are we moving to somewhere new?" And Isabel's like, "Just a quick pit stop." And then the narration says, "Every new world we visited was an adventure, and few adventures ended worse than this one." So it's like, oh, this isn't going to go well, apparently, because it's like, yeah, narration is usually pretty spot on with what it's foreshadowing. So earlier we had the whole brother thing, and then now we have the whole, well, we had the brother thing, we had the whole, Fong is a planet that's basically in conflict forever because there's resources there, and like neither side can claim it because it's a stalemate. So it's one of those, like, the 38th parallel or North Korea, South Korea things. Yeah, people are trying to flee the planet because it's just constant war, and there's resources there, which is like why everybody's there. So it's like, well, it's a really bad place to stop on, but they didn't have any choice. So it's like, yeah, they kind of had a lose-lose scenario here, like drift through space, or catch a ride on a comet and try to get some fuel from a place where you can probably, yeah, where it's going to be constant or every day. So yeah, but yeah, they land, and then Marco and Alana are about to go out the door to scout the place and make sure everything's cool. And then Prince Robot is like still like giving them crap, which is great, from like the last issue, and he's just like, "Yeah, I can't stand you two. I hope you die." The whole time he's just like, "Splendid. I'll be cheering for your demise right here." And then before they leave, Petrichor grabs Marco's sword, and she's like, "Hold up, family man." And he's like, "Wait, what are you doing?" And then like they can't stop her, and she like goes out the door, and she's "Yeah, I'll be the tip of the spear on this one." And then Alana's like, "Hey, wait," and she runs off, and she's like, "Well, it's cool, There's nothing out here." And then there's like this little creature that looks kind of like a ferret, kind of like a sloth, but it's not a sloth because sloths are super slow and they're a tree creature. But this looks like more like a ferret type of like rat thing. So yeah, one of those. And then it's all like, "Are you folks missionaries?" And then Lana and Marco are like, "Don't be scared. We're not gonna hurt you. What's your name?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm Kurt, and I'm real hungry." And then Lana's like, "Oh, well, come with us. We've got some food." And then he goes, "Enough for all of us?" And Marco's like, "Us?" And then the final panel is Kurt, and then just, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 13 of little ferret thingies. I mean, they aren't like baring their teeth or their fangs yet, so it's like, they're still looking like adorable, rodent creatures. That being said, I'm pretty sure this is going to go not very well and escalate into the next in the next issue, because that's where it ends off. Of like, oh, okay, we landed. There's these nice, friendly rodent creatures, and then yeah, that's that. So the War for Fong Part 2 is the next one. I don't know how often I'm going to be doing these. I think I'm going to try to get like one up every day, because I'm quite a few issues back from where Saga is currently at. So that's my goal, is just to get through this current arc really fast, because I was behind on it the whole time it was coming out, because I thought it was going to be like not very long, but then apparently it turned out to be an entire like volume. So the whole Fong thing. So yeah. But yeah, after reading this, I'm like, dude, Saga is still amazing, so I'm glad I'm getting back into it. So let's see, 38 is the next issue? Yeah, so issue 38, I will be putting that up eventually. I should be doing at least one of these a week until I'm all caught up. And then once I get all caught up, I'll try to get back to doing it the day. I think it was the day it came out, right? I don't remember. Whatever. Anyway, that's it for this video. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and hopefully I can continue comic book talks on a timely manner this year. And until you see or hear from me again, I'm now signing off.